Hi everybody, Keren here from tuppence Thank you very much for joining me, and this is what I'm going to be making today. I made this to fit the trinket dish that I decorated in one of my earlier videos, and I think it would be a lovely way of giving a gift, so stay with me. I'll show you how I did it. For the lid, I'm going to create my own pattern paper using some of the stamps from Free as a Bird so that they coordinate with the trinket boxing side, and I've mounted the stamps up on clear blocks. Those are the ones I'm going to be using, and I'm using Daffodil Delight ink to match my Daffodil Delight card, and I've marked the smaller of the two pieces of card with letter L for lid. So now I'm going to ink up my stamps. I'm starting with the larger flower, and I'm just stamping randomly all over the card. And I just realised that I really should have put something down to protect my work surface, but hey ho, I didn't. Okay, right, yep. Just going to wipe that bit. Now I'm taking the smaller flower and filling in some of the spaces, and I'm going to carry on doing this, until I think I've got enough. Is that now? Yeah, I think I've got enough there. And finally, with the sprig of leaves, just dotting them wherever I think there's a space that needs to be filled. I've measured my box ahead of time, and so I've cut myself two pieces of card. The one that is going to be for the lid is, the base is 6.5 inches square, and I'm scoring at 1.5 inches from each side. Just rotating the card and scoring at 1.5 inches. And I've marked this piece with B for base, so I know which one it is. This one is the L for lid, which I've already stamped on, and this is 6 5/8 of an inch square, and again scoring at 1.5 inches. So now that I have my score lines in place, I just want to sharpen them a bit using my bone folder, and repeat the process on the lid. Get that nice and sharp. And now I'm just going to cut into the card where the score lines cross. And I'm just cutting out a little snippet. That's going to help when I come to make the box. And I'm going to do the same thing for the lid. Just repeating the process. And now I'm going to put some liquid adhesive on those little 4 corner pieces, and I'm just going to hold it in place with a paper clip while the adhesive dries. Now if you used a dry adhesive, something like tear and tape, something like that, then you could just stick the box together. I happen to like a liquid adhesive when I'm making a box because it makes it nice and strong, so I'm just checking there for fit. And I'm going to do the same thing for the box lid. I'm going to stamp a sentiment on the top of my box, so I've got my stamp on my clear block. It's from that same Free as a Bird set. I'm using Bermuda Bay ink, and I'm just inking up my stamp with lots and lots of light tapping, and I'm just going to stamp directly onto this little scrap of Whisper White, giving the ink a few seconds to transfer, and I'm happy with the result, so I'm going to bring in my stitched nested labels dies, which are in the new annual catalogue, choosing one that I think is going to be a good fit, and yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'm also going to cut some Daffodil Delight in one of the larger shapes, and I'm also going to cut Coastal Cabana probably in the next die size up, so I'm going to go away and do that now. So off camera I've gone and just snipped out two little semicircles from what's going to be the front and the back of the box using a 3/4 inch circle punch, and that's going to make it a little bit easier to open the box. And I've cut a length of the polka dot tulle ribbon, which I've dyed with Bermuda Bay. It looks a lot paler than Bermuda Bay, but it was Bermuda Bay ink I used, but it's actually a very good match for the Coastal Cabana. So I'm just going to begin by putting a little bit of my liquid adhesive onto the back of that piece of card, lining it up carefully, as as centrally as possible. And I've said on many occasions that the reasons why I like liquid adhesive is because it's got wiggle room. So here's my length of polka dot tulle ribbon, and I'm going to just hold that in place with a little bit of the liquid adhesive. That's going to be covered up, nobody's going to see that. And I'm just folding over the extra bits, and I'm just going to hold it in place with a bit of ordinary sticky tape when I can get it started. Here we go. Again, you could use any kind of tape for this. Just press it in place. I'm just using the ordinary stuff that you get at the stationery counter. Then the next bit. And yeah, I'm sorry that you can't see what I'm doing there. The box is in the way, but I hope you get the idea. There you go. Press that down, make sure it's nice in place. Nicely in place, I should say. Okay, so let's get on with the rest of the embellishments. I'm going to layer up a piece of the Daffodil Delight card, and I'm going to use dimensionals for this one, just making sure I'm putting them on the right side, or the wrong side I should say. Well, it's the right side for the dimensionals, it's the wrong side of card. You know what I mean. Just taking the backs off. Sorry, I've gone off camera there. But taking the backs off dimensionals isn't very interesting anyway. There you go. Right, so now I'm just going to line this up as best as I can. And I think this is the point at which I decided, actually, that wasn't quite straight. Luckily, I hadn't put a great deal of pressure on the dimensionals, so they were quite forgiving. I've stamped and fussy cut out some more of the flowers, and I'm just deciding here how I want them to sit. And I've decided that I'm going to snip into the petals of this one, because I want it to sit sort of around the sentiment on the top. So a little bit of the liquid adhesive, and I'm just shaping the flower a little bit just to give it a little bit of dimension. Here's my sentiment. I'm just trying it out for size here. Yeah, I'm going to fold that petal back, tuck that underneath there. Yeah, I'm happy with that, or I think I will be once the flower decides to stick down. A little bit of liquid adhesive, and I'm just going to ease that into place, and just make sure that it's nice and straight. And I'm going to add another little fussy cut flower stamped in Bermuda Bay on Coastal Cabana, and I am going to call that finished. So there is my finished box. I did add one more fussy cut flower at the bottom of the label there. It's a lovely snug fit for my trinket box. Hop on over to my blog and I'll explain how I did the calculations and the measurements. But yeah, for now, that is it for today. Thank you very, very much for joining me. I'd be thrilled to bits if you came and saw me again sometime soon. But for now, bye-bye.